Hello and welcome back once again. So the question that we're trying to answer today is, how do I prepare for a client meeting, especially if it's your first meeting with a client? Now, we all know that meeting a client, especially if you're meeting a big client for the first time ever, could be a very stressful experience. And thinking about it could send you into a complete state where you don't know what to do, how to go about it, and it can be really difficult. But the whole idea to work this out is to prepare for the client meeting. So I'm going to help you with some steps, some tips, some techniques that will keep you in good stead whenever you go to meet your client. Okay, so here are 5 simple things that you could practice for any client meeting. But if it's your first client meeting, it's all the more going to be easier for you now. Okay, so here they are. Number 1 is, before you go to meet the client, prepare by understanding the company website really well. Now, the company website is a repository of information. There is a wealth of information available on the company website. So basic things that you look forward to are about the company, the products and services that they're in, the kind of clientele that the company services, and many other things that you could get to know about the company. So visiting the company website and spending about 20-30 minutes there could help you prepare and get a feel of what kind of a client are you going to have a discussion with. So this is the preliminary stage where you're trying to seek information by doing your own secondary research by visiting the company website. So without fail, this has to be a step in terms of your preparation before you go ahead and meet the client. Number 2, the company website might not be sufficient by itself, although it's a necessary step, which means along with the company website, you may also want to look at the social media presence of the client organization. Now, when I say social media, you could visit the LinkedIn page, you could visit the Facebook page, maybe the Twitter page, Instagram page, whatever you could, to get information about the organization. Now, when you extract information about the organization through the social media presence, then it gives you a first-hand idea of what people think about the company. Because on the company website, the company would naturally talk good things about itself. Whereas in the social media, you will have a balanced view. You might also have people who might not be so positive about the company. So you get to understand where is the company at this stage, if there are any problems, any challenges, any controversies surrounding the client organization. So that's where social media plays an absolutely important role. Number 3, know your contact really well. Now, whenever you meet a client organization, you'll perhaps meet a person. Now, it's important for you to therefore know who is the person that you're going to meet. Now, how do you prepare more about this? Well, again, you could use social media. For example, if you know the name of the person, which in most cases will be available to you, then when you visit the person's LinkedIn page, you get to know more about the person. Similarly, if there is somebody in your organization who has met this person before, you could have a quick chat to understand what kind of experiences did he or she have with the concerned person. That will also help you prepare well. So get to know your contact really well, because that also enhances your self-confidence before you step in for that important meeting. Number 4, prepare questions. Now, there are 2 forms of questions that I would like to highlight. One are the questions that the client is likely to ask you. So these are questions which could be gaining more information, or some of these could be objections thrown at you, all sort of questions that you anticipate the client to ask you. But at the same time, it's also important for you to prepare a list of questions that you want to ask the client. Now, these questions could be more about their business, what they're going through right now, what has been their experience in the past, what kind of requirements do they generally have, and many other things. It's always great to prepare a list of questions, the ones that you anticipate and the ones that you are going to ask, so that the conversation goes on very, very smoothly. In fact, I'm a big fan of carrying these questions into the interview or into the conversation that you're going to go ahead with, so that you're prepared for it. And if you want to quickly refer those questions, no harm in doing so. So be ready with your questions. And last but not the least, this is one step which is often conveniently ignored by a lot of salespeople, is to do a role play of the client meeting with one of your colleagues. Now, how does this help? Suppose you're going to meet a top-notch client, someone who is an industry leader, you'll naturally feel the pressure, right? Now, that's where doing a role play internally with one of your colleagues goes a long, long way. When you do a role play, you will get to understand what are the pitfalls in your conversation. What are some of the questions for which you aren't prepared well? What are some of the questions which you haven't thought about really well? Or some questions which you may want to ask, but you haven't added in your list. Now, all of this will come to light when you do a small preparatory mock call with one of your colleagues. It could be a colleague, it could be a manager. You can pick and choose anyone for that matter. But the most important thing is to do this practice call. And trust me, it will reduce a lot of unnecessary tension before you step into the actual meeting. So try and do this the next time. So these are the 5 things that you must try and do. There could be other things that you may want to add to the list, and you're more than welcome to do that. But I think these are 5 preliminary things that you must do before any client meeting. So here we go again. Number 1 is to understand the company through its own website. Number 2, look at the company's social media presence and try to get a balanced view of what is good about the company and what is not so good about the client organization. Number 3, know your contact really well. The person with whom you're going to have a meeting, it's important for you to know about that person as well. Perhaps visiting the LinkedIn page or any other information source within the organization is also a welcome step. Number 4, prepare a list of questions that you're anticipating from the client and questions that you want to ask to your client to gain more information. And number 5, role play the entire meeting, do a quick mock call with one of your colleagues in the organization so that you're mentally prepared for the next big meeting. If you follow these 5 steps, I'm sure it will keep you in good stead and your confidence will be sky high before you step into the meeting. So try these and do let me know about your experiences. I'll be more than happy to help you further. Thank you so much for listening.